देवी और सज्जनों, ब्रेक के बाद आपका हार्दिक स्वागत है। हम चर्चा कर रहे थे मानसिक मेडिटेशन और लोनलीनेस के उन सारे विषयों पर जिससे समाज आज जूझ रहा है, स्पेशली इस पेंडेमिक के बाद। किसी ने मुझे 2 लाइनें भेजी कि रस्किन बॉन्ड ने कहा एक बार कि प्रकृति को शासन करने दो, स्वच्छंदता को गाने दो, जो दुनिया है उसे फ्री रहने दो। उन्होंने आगे दूसरे किसी लेखक ने लिखा, तुम मांसहीन, तुम रक्तहीन है, अष्टशेष तुम अस्थिहीन, तुम शुद्ध बुद्ध आत्मा केवल है, चिर पुराण है चिर नवीन, तुम पूर्ण इकाई जीवन की जिसमें असार भव शून्य लीन, आधार अमर होगी जिस पर भावी की संस्कृति समासीन। ये वो सारी चीजें हैं जो हमारी आत्मा को, शुद्धता को, बुद्धता को जागृत करती है। इसी विषय पर आज हम चर्चा करेंगे। वी हैव a very esteemed and reputed guest, and I would like to welcome Paula ji.
Namaste ji.
Namaste,
Thank
Paula ji.
you.
It's great to see you here. I would like to welcome to you on this program. And due to technical glitch, I know you were not able to join in the first half, but it's great to see you. Briefly, I will give you an introduction to the people. Paula was born in London. When she was young, I think around 6, she went to India with her parents. She studied there. She grew up there, and then she started working in Anand Bazar Patrika, one of the finest and reputed publishing house in Kolkata. Then she came back in UK I think in 2002. She was working in different places. She was working in Harrow Council. She was working with different publishing houses, and finally she joined Air India. And we all know the mascot of Air India is Maharaja. So she joined Air India. I think she's working with Air India from last 15 years. She met a lot of corporate people in these days. In these years, she worked with them. But apart from this, she has kept her flame alive. And that's called yoga, meditation, and searching her own soul. And going through her, maybe trying to find her own destination and maybe going through her own journey. उन सारी यात्राओं के बारे में पौला ने कोशिश की कि वो अपनी खुद की ज़िंदगी की एक खोज जारी रखें जिसमें आदमी को खुद का सुकून मिले. सो दैट्स व्हाई शी स्टार्टेड आल्सो बॉडी माइंड रिलैक्सेशन टेक्निक्स, एंड द बुक व्हिच आई वाज रेफरिंग अर्लियर, प्रैक्टिसिंग पावर ऑफ नाउ, वाज सजेस्टेड बाय पौला हरसेल्फ. एंड she is also working with different organizations, Northwick Park Hospital, nurses, doctors, and she also runs session with Panchamukhi organization for kids and youngsters about meditation and yoga. So briefly, I can put in this way, by profession, she is from a corporate world, but by heart, she is from a spiritual world. So let's meet Paula today. And my first question to you, Paula, is during these challenging times, how does yoga, meditation, and spirituality help us?
Thank you. Thank you, Harinji, for this question. And can you hear me?
I can hear you, Paula ji.
Yes, thank you. And thanks, MATV, firstly, for inviting me to this session. And this is a very important question at this point of time. When all of a sudden we are going through unprecedented times, times which we never thought we would be in. And actually the world came to a standstill in a way. And we never thought that this could happen to us when we thought everything is in our control. Let me go back to the days of Mahabharata. And I would like to refer to Gita, which happened in the middle of a battlefield.
Battleground.
Yes. Battlefield, yes. And time stopped for a little while when Krishna was talking to Arjuna, who was not very sure of going into the battle, on why, what is life about? How should we live it? That was his question. And Krishna gave him 3 basic ways of living. The knowledge, which is the 3 yogas. One is the way of knowledge, one is the way of action, and one is the way of bhakti.
Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Karma Yoga.
Absolutely. So, in Karma Yoga, He says that when we are living through our lives, we can't stop the wars. The wars we have to fight in our daily life. We are not Muni Rishis who are going to live in caves, but we have daily battles to fight. But we have to choose our battles, stick to them, and fight them with integrity, at the same time with love and gracefulness, and be so focused in a way that we are doing good for all, this life, and to nature, the world, the society. And that is a karma yogi who does not fight for himself, but a bigger cause. So when this pandemic struck, everything stopped. And actually, the thought came to me that we are like as in a battlefield when everything stops. And we have to think and then carry on. What is our battle now? So these times are teaching us lessons. And when it started, we got so many WhatsApp messages saying, we have to take care of nature. We have to do this. We have to do that. And we all read it and thought, yes, it makes sense. Something needs to change. We forwarded the message and maybe we forgot.
We believe in preaching rather than practicing. I think that's
Yes.
the biggest problem. And WhatsApp University enabled us to preach and teach a lot and practice less.
And that is what we need to think. We need to do. We have to be karma yogis. And every moment live in awareness, this awareness. And this is a great opportunity actually for us to do our best, to live in the best way possible, which we have lost. We have lost our direction. We have lost our goals. So this is a great opportunity actually for us, which I think.
I agree. And for us during these times, what is the best way for us to live? That's what you're saying, that it's just karma yogi, and we should just focus on the present moment. That's what I was describing earlier in the first section of this program. What are the lessons that we learn from these times, and how do we follow them?
See, yoga, if I talk about yoga, yoga is the union of mind and body.
Yeah.
And this happens through awareness. Our mind is a great tool. It is a great tool for us to think. But our mind can also play games and divert us. So we have to, with our awareness, which comes from the connection of our breath, the body-mind connection, and the awareness comes through when we connect with our breath. So every day, every moment, actually, if we make it a habit, a discipline, to connect with our breath and see where our thoughts are. Are we relaxed? Are we calm? Because only when we are calm, we can take the right decision. When we are in a rush, and pandemic stopped all the rush, it gave us another opportunity to go within and think the right ways to live. Now, from my own experience, when you said, yes, I have worked with in corporate organizations, I have visited many corporate companies and seen the world. But why I came into this journey is because all of a sudden I realized that I am just rushing around. And what is it for? And I can't stop myself. The thoughts and the way of life that I'm living, which is always rush, rush, rush. And I was always in anxiety. And I stopped and I thought. And this book, which Harinji you spoke about, was actually a big eye-opener for me. And also, I experienced this, and I'll tell you a short story, a little bit of my own
I will be
experience.
grateful if I will come to know about the story. Yeah, please.
Thank you. Yes, and it's my own story, so I thought I'll share this with you. I was in South India, and in the midst of a marketplace, there were shopping malls, there were big shopping areas, and this was in Bangalore actually. And there were beautiful saris. I was looking through them, and beautiful spices, exotic spices, fruits, which I love. So I was looking around and all, very much into all this. All of a sudden, I heard a bell ringing. I looked around, and in a corner of the street, I saw a temple. And in South India, they have temples which they decorate with flowers beautifully from the outside. And I was drawn to it. Walked towards it, and I went into the temple, a small alleyway, and I was standing in front of the deity. And all of a sudden, everything just stopped. I was in shunya, like in a void, everything just vanished. And I was there standing. And for a few seconds, nothing existed. And after some time, the bell rang again, and I came out from almost a trance. And I came out from the mandir thinking, how could this happen when I was in midst of everything, that I go into a mandir and I was totally in a different world, in a different zone altogether. And when I read this book, I realized all of a sudden I landed in the present moment, which is actually everything that we have. We don't have the past, which is gone. The future is, we don't know whether we'll be there or not, which we are always chasing. We are thinking, we are looking for security, and we are also fearful of what is going to happen. But we don't live this present moment, which is actually what we have. This present moment, you, me, and everybody who is there in this program, moment is what we have. If we live this moment in relaxation, in a calm manner, and see how beautiful this life is, our journey starts here. We are making our life. We are actually creating the life which we want. A life of,
I will just ask one question here. I know
yes,
people do talk a lot about the positive aspect of living in present moment, and there's a great deal of written and explained about what is the benefit of living in present moment. But I think all those people who are laymen like me, they also want to know how do we live in that present moment, or what should we do, or is there any step by step guide, or maybe a 2 minute simple quick explanation for us that this is how you should try and practice, so one day we will be perfect. So can you please elaborate on that point?
very few simple ways of living, Harinji. And it just comes from practice. Some of it, if I tell you, you will, yes, I've heard of it. But knowing something and practicing something is very two different things. So I'll give you very few simple examples of living in the present moment. So the first step, which I think has helped me, is before going to bed for half an hour, switch off your mobile phone. After getting up in the morning for half an hour, no emails, no phone, just be with the self in silence. If possible, if not possible, even 10 minutes is fine, but connect with the self. And how do you connect? With breath, which is there every moment with you. You don't have to do anything. Just tune into your breath. And that is a beautiful way of connecting with the self. And if I tell others, meditate, that sounds, people think, oh, that is not possible. Don't think about meditation. and just sit in silence. Give that moment to recharge yourself for the day and start the day and then just see how it goes. There will be a difference. The next day, when you sit down to your dinner or the breakfast, lunch, or dinner, again, give, take a moment of silence. Just connect with yourself. Stop the TV, the phone, let it be aside. One moment before you start, be in silence, then start your meal. If you do this, just see your energy changes at once. In a minute, your energy changes. And the food which you have worked so hard for you and your family, it is taken in and is assimilated by the body in a different way, which heals you from within. This is the second thing. When you go to work, when you start your work, again, a moment of pause. Actually, before that, when you leave your home also, one moment, gather yourself, ground yourself, then go out for your work. You will see the small disturbances which come in the way will vanish. It will not matter. The next step, once you go into your work, whatever is happening, just be in a moment of silence before you start your work. And every 1 hour, if possible, take one moment tuning into your breath and see where your breath is. If these few things can be taken into life, you will see so many changes happening. You are living in a much more relaxed way. You are doing your work, the same work, in a relaxed way. Same thing, as I told you, once you come back home, if you are sitting with your family, ask everyone. Request, otherwise, do it yourself. Be in silence for a moment before you take your food.
I think silence is the key to hear or to listen the voice of the soul.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And
There's one
it
more
is
thing which
this,
people do keep on referring about that point, and that is called observe your breath. And I did not get that point. How can we observe our breath? If I will observe my breath at this moment, then I will not be able to think what is going on in my head and what I need to discuss, or what should be my next question, or what should be my explanation. So I'm living in the present moment because I'm thinking about these things. But if I will observe my breath at the moment, then my whole focus will shift on the observing breath. So what is that? How will you explain that point?
I'll tell you what. See, when I told you in the morning, sit for 5 minutes, 10 minutes in stillness, observing your breath, the in breath and the out breath. When you start practicing this, this becomes a habit. Then you don't have to observe. You can tune into your breath in even in the most, what will I say, crowded place, in the marketplace, in the train, in the bus. In a moment you just tune into your breath and it happens automatically. You know, Harinji, whatever we practice, we become that. This is a practice we have to follow. We have to practice with discipline. If we do that, it becomes a habit, and without even knowing, do we actually think that I have to breathe in, I have to breathe out? It happens automatically, but we don't do it the right way. We are taking in short breaths, not filling up our lungs, our chest the way it should. So if we take deep, long breaths at different intervals, we are sending oxygen to every corner, every part of our body. The cells are oxygenated. A, a natural flow of oxygenated blood, purifying our blood, happens automatically. These are actually basic things. We have changed it by being in a stressful life that we have built around us. But we have to reverse it now. We have to live a natural way of life now. So that is when we can make this change. Now we don't even have to, it will happen automatically.
I think this has answered my few of my questions, that how can we do these changes, or how can we regularly practice these changes, and how can we include all these aspects in our regular life. I think you have answered that question, which was really important. But I feel that these changes can make a lot of difference to our lives, but everyone may not be ready to practice these.
Yes, that is a very important question. Not everybody may be ready for it, but sometimes you have to be the change. You cannot force anybody to do anything, but if you are the change will gradually, automatically, if your children see you doing this,
They
at
will
one
follow.
point in time, they will think, what is this? Will let me also try. And I've seen this happen so many with my kids. I've seen that once when they never thought it made any sense. Now I see them practicing this. So it happens. It happens when you become the change. You are an example.
So we are not
And that is,
enforcing on others. That's what Lord Krishna has said in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Yat ichchasi tat kuru. I have given you all the information, I have given you all the knowledge. Now it's up to you, Arjuna, which pathway you want to follow. I will not force on you which particular pathway you have to choose. So I think this is how Lord Krishna has enabled Arjuna to become a perfect warrior in that particular battlefield. I know I know your roots are from Bengal. When we talk about Bengal, the first thing which comes to our mind is Bhadralok. And people, those who are ardent reader, those who are interested in music, those who are interested in art. My session will be incomplete if we will not talk about famous writers, especially your favorite writers. Can you please tell me briefly, quickly about your favorite writers, those who are from Bengal?
although I grew up, I studied in a convent, I always had a deep, there was a pulling for me to read literature, the literature from rural Bengal, the Bengal of origin. So I grew up reading a lot of books of Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, Sharat Chandra Chattopadhyay, and Vibhutibhushan Bandyopadhyay, who wrote Pather Pachali, and they all wrote about rural Bengal, which had so much beauty, still has, and it fascinated me. These books are actual gems, and of course, Rabindranath Tagore is a part and parcel of Bengal for every Bengali.
Yes. And I think the whole world, when Bengali writers, when there was this era when Bengali writers were on the topmost list not only in India, in the whole world. And still, we can see there are a lot of good Bengali writers, those who are around us and those who are still producing quality work, and they are generating stuff which will be useful for the future generations. Um, Before we finish, quickly, I just want to know your comment about your favorite book, Practicing the Power of Present Moment.
Yes, as I said, um, this actually changed me. When I read this book, I realized living in the present moment is all that we can do and manifest our life. It's a wonderful book to ground yourself, and there are simple techniques in it also. When you from within and connect with the self. See, our mind is something, our body is something, but there is something beyond that, as you have rightly said, is the awareness. And to reach that awareness, meditation is required. Silence, being in silence. So this power of now teaches us, gives us that essence which has made a huge difference to me in my life.
Thank you, Paula ji.
So
I
it
think
comes
there are a lot
to,
of things which I think maybe as a seeker or maybe as a layman, I really want to ask you, and maybe all those people who are in audience at the moment, they also want to ask you. We have very limited time, but I know हताशाओं के झंझावत में उत्तरदायी कोई नहीं होता. एक छोटी लौ के प्रकाश से भी जगी रह सकती है इच्छाएं. एक छोटी जो लौ है, इतने बड़ी झंझावतों में यदि वो भी जिंदा है तो वो हमें हमेशा एक रास्ता दिखाती है. जहाँ सुख है वहीं हम चटक कर टूट जाते हैं बारंबार. नॉर्मली जहाँ सुख होता है वहाँ लोग जल्दी टूट जाते हैं. जहाँ दुख है वहाँ पर सुलगन पिघला कर हमें फिर जोड़ देती है. मतलब जहाँ दुख होता है वहाँ वो हमें पिघला के वापस जोड़ देती है, वो हमें टूटने नहीं देती. तो दुख आदमी की ज़िंदगी के लिए बहुत ज़रूरी है. और जो अभी एक दुख भरा फेज़ जो पेंडेमिक चल रहा है, ये शायद हम सबको वापस टूटने के बाद भी वापस जोड़ रहा है. ये अज्ञे की बहुत फेमस कविता है और अज्ञे ने बहुत बेहतरीन तरीके से इसे लिखा कि हमें इस वापस ये पिघला कर कैसे जोड़ रही है. इसके अलावा जो सांसों की जो आपने बताया कि हमें हमेशा अपनी सांसों को देखते रहना चाहिए, कब सांस निकल जाए हमें नहीं पता. बट मैं इतना ज़रूर जानता हूँ कि जब तक सांस है तब तक आस है, और ये आस बनी रहनी चाहिए, न सिर्फ हमारे खुद के लिए, हमारे भविष्य की पीढ़ियों के लिए, उन सारे लोगों के लिए जो हमें एक बेहतरीन ज़िंदगी जीने की अपेक्षा रखते हैं और चाहते हैं कि दुनिया को हम थोड़ा सा बेहतर बनाकर जाएं. ऐसी उनकी आशाएं और अपेक्षाएं हैं. आज का ये कार्यक्रम बहुत बेहतरीन रहा, पर ये चर्चा अभी भी अधूरी है. ये चर्चा शायद एक यात्रा की तरह है और हो सकता है कि अगले हम किसी एपिसोड में मिलें. इसलिए मैं पॉला जी का धन्यवाद ज्ञापित करूंगा और सारे दर्शकों को भी थैंक यू कहूंगा कि आज के इस कार्यक्रम को आपने देखा और कोशिश की कि हम अपनी सांसों को इस पैंडेमिक में हम एक नई क्या चीज़ सीख सकते हैं जो जीवन भर, ज़िंदगी भर हमारे साथ चल सकती है. हम फिर हाजिर होंगे आपके साथ नेक्स्ट थर्सडे 7 o'clock 711 स्काई पर, MATV पर, थेम स्पीक्स पे. तब तक के लिए आप सभी से इजाज़त चाहूँगा. धन्यवाद.